Welcome to our channel. We are so glad you found your way here. Let us help you fall asleep. Let's begin with the quiet collapse of TiVo, the failure to rule the digital video recording market. Take a slow, deep breath in and release it. Even the tallest towers eventually quiet down. Tonight, we gently explore the empty boardrooms and forgotten ambitions of the past. Your mind is calm, and we are ready to begin. The dawn of digital video recording marked a significant shift in the way content was consumed. TiVo emerged as a pioneer during this transformative era, offering viewers the ability to record, pause, and rewind live television. This innovation promised an unprecedented level of control over viewing habits, allowing audiences to tailor their entertainment experiences. It ushered in a new age where the rigid schedules of broadcasting were gradually rendered obsolete. As users embraced the convenience of digital recording, TiVo became synonymous with this evolution. The sleek design and user-friendly interface appealed to tech-savvy consumers eager to harness this new capability. Marketing efforts positioned it as not merely a device, but as a lifestyle enhancement, elevating home entertainment standards. The company's early success was met with enthusiasm as subscriptions soared and market presence strengthened. Yet, challenges soon surfaced. Competitors began to emerge, many leveraging existing cable and satellite infrastructures to offer similar functionalities. The allure of TiVo began to fade as alternatives proliferated in the marketplace. This transition unveiled the inherent vulnerabilities within the business model. Pricing strategies and a lack of exclusive content proved inadequate in sustaining its early momentum. The allure of innovative technology could not shield it from the shifting dynamics of a rapidly evolving landscape, setting the stage for its eventual decline. In 1997, a vision emerged from the unassuming confines of a modest California garage. A group of engineers, inspired by the burgeoning possibilities of digital technology, sought to revolutionize the way individuals consume television. It was a moment marked by optimism as they crafted a device capable of recording television programs, allowing viewers to reclaim control over their viewing schedules. This innovation, encapsulated in the sleek design of the TiVo device, promised to transform passive consumption into an active, personalized experience. The early days were characterized by excitement and anticipation. The company forged partnerships with television networks and hardware manufacturers, laying a foundation built on collaboration. It introduced the concept of time shifting, enabling users to pause, rewind, and record live television. This functionality was heralded as a game changer, capturing the imagination of early adopters and paving the way for a new era of home entertainment. Initial success was palpable as sales figures climbed and the brand became synonymous with digital video recording. The exuberance of the founding team fueled a culture of innovation, propelling the company forward. Yet, as the excitement mounted, the complexities of an evolving market began to surface, foreshadowing challenges that would soon emerge. The landscape was shifting, and the foundation laid in those early days would soon face tests that would reveal the fragility of its promising start. The vision behind this innovative device emerged during a time of rapid technological advancement. It redefined how individuals interacted with television, offering unprecedented control over content consumption. Viewers could now pause live broadcasts, record programs for later enjoyment, and skip through commercials. This shift fundamentally altered expectations, transforming passive viewing into an active, personalized experience. The technology itself was groundbreaking, utilizing a digital video recorder to encode and store programming onto hard drives. This replaced the cumbersome videotapes of previous generations. The user interface was intuitive, inviting users to explore and discover content beyond traditional scheduling constraints. The seamless integration of a program guide allowed for effortless navigation through countless channels, offering a sense of empowerment previously unseen. Despite these advancements, resistance emerged from network providers and traditional advertising models. This tension highlighted the delicate balance between innovation and the established norms of the industry. As competitors began to adopt similar technologies, the initial lead diminished. Market saturation and evolving consumer preferences contributed to a challenging environment. The once revolutionary device became a relic of its time, overshadowed by the rise of streaming services that further disrupted conventional viewing habits. As the years progressed, the fading company struggled to maintain relevance, caught between its pioneering legacy and the relentless march of newer, more adaptive technologies. The initial introduction of the TiVo series one marked a pivotal moment in the realm of digital video recording. Released in the year 1999, it promised a revolutionary way for viewers to consume television content. With its sleek design and user-friendly interface, it quickly captured the attention of early adopters and tech enthusiasts alike. The allure of recording live television, pausing broadcasts, and creating personalized viewing experiences resonated deeply with a generation eager for control over their media consumption. Upon its launch, TiVo received favorable reviews from critics, who praised its innovative features and potential to transform how people engaged with television. The ability to record multiple shows simultaneously, coupled with a robust search functionality, positioned it as a groundbreaking product in a landscape dominated by traditional viewing habits. Initial market reception was promising, evidenced by sales that exceeded expectations, placing it ahead of competitors in the nascent digital recording space. In this early phase, the company experienced a sense of triumph, bolstered by strategic partnerships with cable providers and a growing user base. The excitement surrounding the series generated significant media buzz, marking its entry into households as a harbinger of change. Nonetheless, beneath the surface, challenges lay in wait, foreshadowing the complexities that would later unfold in the evolving market. The concept of time shifting emerged as a pivotal innovation, reshaping the way consumers interacted with media. This allowed individuals to watch their favorite programs at their convenience, fundamentally altering viewing habits. Devices equipped with this capability offered unprecedented flexibility, enabling audiences to engage with content on their own terms. The allure of controlling when and how one consumed television became a dominant factor in the growing appeal of digital video recorders. Consumer adoption steadily increased as the technology provided a solution to the long-standing constraints of scheduled programming. It was an era marked by a shift from passive consumption to a more active engagement with content. Viewers began to appreciate the power of pausing, rewinding, and saving programs for later viewing. This newfound control contributed to an evolving landscape where traditional broadcasting faced mounting pressure. Despite the promise of time shifting, challenges continued to emerge. Competition grew fiercer as streaming services entered the market, offering vast libraries of content without the need for recording. The initial excitement surrounding this innovative concept began to wane as consumer preferences shifted once more. This transition highlighted the fragility of market dominance, revealing that technological advancements, while transformative, could quickly become eclipsed by new paradigms. The fading company struggled to adapt, illustrating the precarious nature of success in an ever-changing environment. Early threats emerged as competitors began to carve their own paths within the digital video recording market. Replay TV, introduced in the late 1990s, offered a glimpse of innovation that would soon challenge the established presence of this fading company. Its features, including commercial skipping and user-friendly interfaces, captivated a segment of consumers eager for improved viewing experiences. This rise prompted a shift in market dynamics as consumers began to expect more from their devices. Other DVRs equipped with advanced functionalities and sleek designs further intensified the competition. Brands like Dish Network and DirecTV introduced their own recording systems, which appealed to varied demographics. This new landscape, characterized by multiple options, began to erode the once dominant position held by the fading company. In this region, the initial excitement surrounding digital video recorders started to dissipate as consumer loyalty became a fluid concept. It was no longer sufficient to simply offer recording capabilities. Innovation and adaptability became key. Each competitor sought to differentiate itself, often at the cost of market share for the fading company. The consequences of this fragmentation became evident as it struggled to maintain relevance. The landscape shifted dramatically, and the once prominent pioneer found itself grappling with the realities of an industry that demanded ever-increasing ingenuity. The Consumer Electronics Show served as a pivotal moment for the fading company. Unveiled amid a sea of innovative technology, the product captured attention with its sleek design and promising features. Initial reactions were favorable, as industry experts and enthusiastic consumers marveled at its capabilities, envisioning a future where time-shifted viewing became the norm. This region of Las Vegas buzzed with excitement, creating a temporary oasis for the struggling brand. In the early days, it demonstrated a potential to revolutionize how viewers consumed media. The ability to pause, rewind, and record live television appealed to a growing demographic eager for convenience. This initial enthusiasm translated into respectable sales figures, marking a significant achievement for a newcomer in a competitive market. Analysts noted that the company had carved out a niche, engaging audiences who appreciated the blend of technology and entertainment. Promotional campaigns followed, amplifying visibility and positioning the device as an essential household item. Yet competition loomed large. Rivals began to emerge, offering similar functionalities at lower price points, fragmenting consumer interest. The initial momentum could not stave off the inevitable encroachment of alternatives, as streaming services and on-demand viewing started to dominate preferences. The glow of those early successes dimmed, setting the stage for challenges that lay ahead. Distinct marketing strategies initially propelled the brand into the limelight, capturing the attention of early adopters. Through an innovative approach, it established itself as a pioneer in the digital video recording market. Clever advertising campaigns highlighted its unique features, positioning it as an essential device for the burgeoning television landscape. The integration of user-friendly interfaces and groundbreaking technology resonated with consumers, driving interest and sales. Engagement with audiences extended beyond traditional advertising. Collaborations with popular television programs created a cultural footprint, embedding it in the minds of consumers. This connection transformed the brand into a household name, generating organic word-of-mouth promotion. The emphasis on community and shared experiences fostered loyalty among users and cultivated a sense of belonging. Promotional events showcased the product's capabilities, emphasizing its revolutionary role in viewing habits. These initiatives illustrated the brand's commitment to enhancing the entertainment experience. However, as competitors emerged, the once distinctive marketing efforts began to lose their edge. The landscape shifted, and the promises made in earlier campaigns fell by the wayside amid a flood of alternatives. The initial approach to brand awareness, once a beacon of success, struggled to adapt to a rapidly changing market. This gradual decline in relevance mirrored the broader challenges facing the fading company. The intricate web of partnerships formed with cable providers and networks initially served as a promising avenue for growth. These collaborations aimed to enhance user access and broaden market reach. By integrating their technology with existing services, they sought to provide a seamless viewing experience. Early on, this strategy appeared effective, contributing to a surge in subscriber numbers. As time progressed, the dynamics shifted. Providers began to develop their own competing solutions, which gradually eroded TiVo's unique positioning. The once advantageous collaborations transformed into a battleground for market share. This shift underscored a crucial reality. Reliance on external partnerships can become a double-edged sword. The evolving landscape of digital content consumption further complicated these relationships. As streaming platforms proliferated, traditional cable providers faced pressure to adapt. TiVo's efforts to innovate within this environment were met with mixed results. While it endeavored to remain relevant by offering advanced features, the competition grew fiercer. These partnerships, rather than reinforcing a stronghold in the market, began to reflect the vulnerabilities of an organization struggling to navigate a rapidly changing digital frontier. Each collaboration, once viewed as a potential lifeline, now mirrored the broader decline, revealing the fragility of a business model reliant on external alliances. The landscape shifted beneath the fading company, leaving it to grapple with its diminishing influence. User interface design emerged as a critical factor in determining the success of digital video recording systems. The early iterations of TiVo showcased an innovative approach to usability, allowing users to navigate effortlessly through menus and options. This region of the technological evolution was marked by a commitment to enhancing the viewer experience, making it intuitive for even the least tech-savvy individuals. Such simplicity attracted a loyal user base, fostering an environment where word of mouth became a vital marketing tool. Over time, competition intensified, and the market introduced alternatives that boasted user interfaces with improved functionality and aesthetics. These rivals offered features that were not only comparable but sometimes superior. The once cherished ease of use began to erode, as TiVo struggled to keep pace with advancing designs. As the company focused more on hardware innovations, it overlooked the necessity of refining the user experience. Diminished attention to interface design resulted in frustrations among users who sought efficiency and accessibility. This shift in priorities alienated a demographic that valued seamless interaction. The once revered platform became synonymous with stagnation in a rapidly evolving digital landscape. The shift in revenue strategies became an inevitable response to changing consumer habits. In its early years, TiVo thrived on one-time product sales, luring customers with the promise of innovative recording technology. Yet, as competition began to swell, it became apparent that this model was not sustainable. The advent of streaming services and over-the-top content providers altered expectations, prompting a reevaluation of income sources. Transitioning to a subscription model seemed like a logical step. It offered the potential for steady, recurring revenue streams, aligning with the growing consumer preference for on-demand access. This approach aimed to capitalize on the increasing adoption of digital video recording as an essential utility rather than a luxury. Despite the initial optimism surrounding this pivot, challenges quickly emerged. The subscription model required not only a shift in marketing strategies, but also an overhaul of user engagement. Many early adopters, who had championed the platform in its heyday, began questioning the value proposition. The monthly fees felt burdensome against a backdrop of free alternatives that proliferated in the market. With each passing quarter, retention became a more pronounced issue, highlighting the difficulties in maintaining user loyalty. The fading company found itself caught in a cycle of declining subscriptions and mounting discontent. The introduction of the Season Pass feature marked an attempt to innovate amidst the turmoil. This capability allowed users to automatically record every episode of a designated series, creating a sense of convenience that resonated well with early adopters. It was a pioneering step in personalized viewing, providing a tailored experience that aimed to enhance engagement and satisfaction. Alongside this, the wishlist feature emerged as an additional tool for viewers, enabling them to specify preferences for recording shows based on keywords. This feature sought to appeal to niche interests and varied tastes, allowing users to discover content that aligned with their viewing habits. The promise of comprehensive coverage and customization was intended to solidify loyalty and attract new customers. Despite these advancements, the impact was somewhat muted. The competitive landscape evolved rapidly, with streaming services offering on-demand access that rendered traditional recording methods less relevant. The allure of innovative features struggled to maintain momentum in a market experiencing a seismic shift. While the enhancements showcased the company's commitment to innovation, consumer adoption rates during the early 2000s revealed a complex landscape for digital video recording technology. Initial enthusiasm was high, fueled by aggressive marketing and a growing consumer desire for convenience. Early adopters flocked to TiVo devices, captivated by the promise of time-shifting and personalized viewing experiences. This initial surge, however, masked a more nuanced reality. Despite early success, growth began to plateau as competitors emerged with comparable offerings. Cable providers began integrating digital video recorders into their services, creating a more accessible alternative for consumers. Price sensitivity came into play, with many potential customers perceiving the cost of the devices as a barrier. The allure of subscription-based services, bundled with existing cable packages, diverted attention away from standalone systems. By 2005, the optimism surrounding TiVo was met with growing skepticism. Market penetration stagnated. The transition from niche product to mainstream necessity had not materialized as anticipated. Consumer trends shifted toward on-demand streaming services, further diminishing the appeal of traditional recording devices. This erosion of market share highlighted a significant disconnect between innovation and actual consumer behavior. The early 2000s would The early 2000s would see the beginnings of a complex tug-of-war between TiVo and traditional cable providers. As digital video recording technology gained traction, it became apparent that content providers were uneasy with the emergence of this new competitor. With the ability to pause, rewind, and record programming, viewers began to shift their habits, favoring the convenience offered by TiVo's innovative devices. In response, the cable industry initiated measures to retain control over their content. In this region, the negotiations between TiVo and cable networks grew increasingly contentious. Content providers sought to protect their advertising revenue, implementing strategies to limit the functionality of recording devices. Restrictions were placed on the recording of certain programs, aiming to discourage viewers from skipping through commercials. This concerted pushback from the cable industry highlighted a growing tension between traditional broadcast methods and emerging technologies. Despite its initial promise, TiVo faced mounting challenges in securing partnerships with these content providers. The inability to navigate these relationships effectively stymied growth, and legal battles emerged as a significant obstacle, consuming resources and diverting attention from innovation. These skirmishes over patents became a defining characteristic of the digital video recording landscape. TiVo found itself at the center of numerous disputes, often pitted against larger corporations with deeper pockets and extensive legal teams. The focus of these conflicts centered on the very technology that had propelled TiVo to prominence. Competing companies sought to establish their dominance by challenging the intellectual property that had once been a cornerstone of TiVo's offering. This initiated a cycle of litigation that not only drained finances, but also eroded the brand's public image. As these battles unfolded, the once clear vision of market leadership became obscured. Key executives spent considerable effort navigating courtroom proceedings rather than pursuing strategic partnerships or enhancing product functionality. The incessant legal scrutiny diminished customer confidence and delayed potential advancements in technology, leaving a trail of stagnation. With each ruling, the momentum that had initially characterized the company gave way to uncertainty. Competitors continued to innovate, releasing products that captured market share and consumer interest. The legal entanglements, rather than serving as a means to protect the technology. The legal entanglements, rather than serving as a means to protect the technology. In the wake of this acquisition, the integration process commenced, aimed at merging the two entities into a singular powerhouse within the digital video recording landscape. The hope was to leverage Replay TV's innovations and customer base, creating a more competitive entity. This intent, however, faced challenges as existing infrastructures and corporate cultures collided. The anticipated synergy did not materialize as planned, leading to a dilution of brand identity and market focus. Customer loyalty, once an asset, began to wane as the complexities of the merger unfolded. Users of both platforms encountered confusion regarding compatibility and support. Conflicting visions for future development created further disarray. Market analysts observed a gradual decline in confidence, both from consumers and investors. This region, once ripe with potential for a dominant player, now witnessed a slow unraveling. The ambitions of a unified digital recording titan faded against the backdrop of technical difficulties and consumer disillusionment, marking a significant shift in the trajectory of the industry. Economic turmoil enveloped the landscape following the 2008 financial crisis. Households faced unprecedented challenges, leading to a reevaluation of discretionary spending. This region witnessed an immediate decline in consumer confidence, with many prioritizing essentials over luxury items such as sophisticated digital recording devices. It became evident that the allure of innovative technology could not outweigh the pressing concerns for financial stability. With families tightening their budgets, the once thriving market for devices like digital video recorders experienced a stark contraction. Retailers reported dwindling sales, highlighting a shift from the previous enthusiasm surrounding these products. In this atmosphere, companies struggled to adapt. Marketing strategies that once emphasized technological advancement and convenience began to falter. The fading company found itself competing not just with other brands, but also with emerging alternatives to traditional recording methods, such as streaming services. These platforms offered consumers flexibility, further diverting attention away from the hardware that had defined the market. The impact of the crisis rippled through the industry, illustrating the fragility of consumer electronics in economically unstable times. As spending habits transformed, the once prominent players faced an uphill battle, marked by dwindling sales figures and a loss of market share. The evolution of consumer priorities forever altered the fate of digital recording technology. The rise of streaming services introduced a new landscape for media consumption. Viewers began to favor immediate access to vast libraries of content, favoring convenience over traditional recording methods. This shift rendered once prominent technologies increasingly obsolete. The allure of binge-watching entire seasons with a single click transformed expectations, shifting the focus from scheduled programming to on-demand availability. Market data revealed significant declines in the utilization of digital video recorders as households adapted to this new paradigm. The preference for services offering curated selections led to a gradual erosion of interest in recording options. Platforms emerged, providing not only shows but also original content, further enticing audiences to abandon previous viewing methods. As these changes unfolded, the fading company struggled to redefine its value proposition. Attempts to innovate were met with skepticism. Enhanced features and new models failed to capture the renewed interest of a consumer base that had moved on. The landscape became a battleground for streaming giants, leaving little room for traditional recording devices. In this transformed environment, the repercussions were felt deeply. The once revered brand, synonymous with digital recording, found itself overshadowed by platforms that prioritized user experience and flexibility. The strategic misalignment with consumer behavior became a defining characteristic of its decline. Attempts to adapt unfolded within the walls of the fading company, where executives recognized the urgency of aligning with the burgeoning streaming landscape. Initiatives emerged, aiming to pivot away from hardware-centric offerings toward a more software-driven approach. A reimagined interface was introduced, one designed to integrate seamlessly with popular streaming services, allowing users to navigate their viewing options more fluidly. This transition sought to capture the shifting viewer preferences, acknowledging that consumers were gravitating toward on-demand content instead of linear television. Partnerships were forged with various streaming platforms, expanding the reach of its services. This strategy aimed to provide a comprehensive entertainment hub, a modern solution for a new era of digital consumption. Challenges persisted as competition intensified among established streaming giants, each vying for a dedicated audience. The struggle to maintain relevance became palpable as user numbers reflected a gradual decline. Marketing efforts attempted to highlight the unique advantages of the service, emphasizing features like advanced search capabilities and personalized recommendations. Yet, these initiatives often fell short in resonating with a demographic that had begun to favor simplicity and immediate access over intricate functionalities. Despite these endeavors, the company faced an uphill battle, navigating through a landscape that had rapidly shifted beyond its original vision. Adaptation was essential, yet the path proved complex in a world dominated by change. Marketing strategies lacked clarity, leading to confusion among consumers. Initial campaigns emphasized groundbreaking technology, portraying TiVo as a revolutionary device. Despite this, the messaging often failed to resonate with a broader audience. They introduced concepts like time-shifting and season pass, which, while innovative, alienated potential users who struggled to grasp the terminology. This disconnect resulted in a missed opportunity to capture the mainstream market. Advertising efforts, including various television spots, attempted to showcase the convenience and control TiVo offered. Yet, these campaigns frequently overlooked the user experience, demonstrating complex features without clear, relatable benefits left consumers bewildered. Many potential buyers perceived the device as overly complicated, deterring them from making a purchase. Retail partners also faced challenges, as the product's positioning within stores often lacked coherence. Display setups did not convey the unique advantages of TiVo effectively, leaving consumers uncertain about its value compared to traditional recording methods. Competitive alternatives presented simpler options, further complicating TiVo's standing in the marketplace. As these marketing missteps accumulated, brand recognition faltered. The once promising image began to fade, leading to a decline in sales and the role of social media emerged as a transformative force within the realm of viewer engagement. As these platforms gained traction, they began to redefine how audiences interacted with content. Instant feedback and real-time discussions became commonplace, altering the landscape of consumer expectations. Traditional viewing habits, once dominated by linear programming, faced disruption from the immediacy of digital interactions. This shift prompted a reevaluation of marketing strategies. In this environment, the appeal of a device like TiVo diminished as audiences sought more integrated experiences. Streaming services, equipped with their own social media presences, provided not only content but also community. Engaging with shows and movies through comments, shares, and recommendations became central to the viewing experience. This dynamic rendered the notion of recording shows for later viewing less relevant. Simultaneously, the emergence of user-generated content further complicated the narrative. Viewers were no longer passive recipients but active participants, creating their own videos and content that challenged traditional media. With this newfound agency, the allure of TiVo's functionality waned. In a world where immediacy and interaction governed viewer preferences, the fading company struggled to maintain its relevance. This evolution in viewer engagement catalyzed a shift that left TiVo grappling with a market it once sought to dominate. The once promising hardware sales began to show signs of decline, illustrating a continuous downward trend that would Customers gravitated toward integrated solutions that did not require additional hardware, opting instead for convenience and simplicity. These options, often bundled with existing services, rendered standalone devices less appealing. The allure of a single remote, controlling both viewing and recording functions, proved more enticing than the complexities associated with separate units. This shift was not merely a fleeting trend, it represented a fundamental change in consumer behavior. TiVo's attempts to adapt, introducing new features and pricing strategies, failed to resonate in a market that had moved on. Annual reports reflected the stark reality, showcasing plunging sales figures that contrasted sharply with earlier peaks. The once celebrated brand, synonymous with innovation in digital recording, struggled to maintain relevance amid the rapid evolution of technology. These ruins of a once thriving enterprise serve as a poignant reminder of the unforgiving nature of market dynamics and the challenges inherent in sustaining technological leadership. The launch of the TiVo Series 3 marked a pivotal moment, showcasing an array of features designed to cater to a sophisticated audience. High-definition recording capabilities, enhanced picture quality, and a sleek modern interface were presented as groundbreaking advancements. They aimed to position the device as an essential tool for the evolving landscape of home entertainment. Yet, despite these technical achievements, a disconnect became apparent between what it offered and the needs of the market. Consumer preferences shifted rapidly during this period, with an increasing emphasis on streaming services and on-demand content. The robust features of the Series 3, while impressive, did not align with the growing demand for flexibility in viewing habits. Many potential users were drawn to the convenience of internet streaming, leaving the traditional recording approach feeling antiquated. This misalignment created a gap that the company struggled to bridge. Sales figures reflected this trend, revealing disappointing uptake amidst heightened competition. Alternative platforms emerged, providing users with broader access to content without the commitment of hardware. The allure of subscription-based models further diverted attention from the one-time purchase of a dedicated recording device. As these market forces coalesced, the once prominent TiVo faced the stark reality of an industry that had moved beyond its grasp. The introduction of high-definition recording marked a significant shift in consumer expectations and technological standards. This advancement rendered earlier models increasingly obsolete. TiVo, once a pioneer, found itself at a crossroads where innovation was not merely an option, but a necessity for survival. Competition surged with emerging brands that embraced HD capability, offering features that captivated an audience eager for superior image quality. Consumer preferences shifted rapidly as households upgraded their viewing experiences. The ability to record, store, and play back high-definition content became essential. TiVo's reluctance to adapt to these demands highlighted its struggles within a fast-evolving landscape. As competitors rolled out new products equipped with enhanced functionalities, the fading company's market share began to dwindle. The repercussions of this technological evolution were profound. Existing customers, once loyal, sought alternatives that promised a seamless integration of HD recording into their entertainment systems. TiVo's inability to pivot swiftly resulted in a gradual erosion of its user base. This decline was compounded by the rise of streaming services, which further complicated the recording landscape. These changes created a perfect storm, emphasizing the disconnect between TiVo's offerings and the expectations of modern consumers. In the wake of these developments, the once vibrant brand struggled to redefine its identity in a market that had moved on, leaving behind echoes of its former dominance. Consumer preferences evolved rapidly, gravitating towards on-demand content that offered greater flexibility and control. This shift manifested in an increasing desire for streaming services, allowing viewers to curate their own experiences without the constraints of traditional broadcasting. The allure of binge-watching entire seasons at once contrasted sharply with the recording and scheduling features that TiVo had championed. In this new landscape, it became evident that consumers were less interested in the act of recording live television. They sought immediate access to a vast library of content, free from interruptions. The advent of platforms providing original programming further diluted the appeal of TiVo's offerings. As audiences embraced digital subscriptions, they began to favor services that provided seamless integration across devices, prioritizing ease of use over the functionalities that once distinguished TiVo. This region, once a hub of innovation, now bore witness to a slow erosion of brand loyalty. The fading company found itself at odds with a user base that had grown accustomed to instantaneous gratification. Disconnected from the desires of a new generation, the once revered product began to gather dust on shelves, overshadowed by competitors who had successfully adapted to an evolving entertainment ecosystem. The struggle to remain relevant became a poignant reminder of the relentless march of technological advancement, leaving TiVo to reflect on its place in a transformed market. The emergence of streaming giants marked a seismic shift in viewer preferences and consumption patterns. Hulu and Netflix transformed the landscape, offering on-demand access to vast libraries of content. This new model resonated with audiences seeking flexibility, bypassing traditional viewing schedules and the constraints of physical media. As these platforms flourished, TiVo's once pioneering capabilities appeared increasingly outdated. Viewers gravitated towards the convenience of streaming services, which provided personalized recommendations, original programming, and a user-friendly interface. The allure of binge-watching entire seasons contrasted starkly with the limitations of recording shows on a single device. This evolution highlighted the shortcomings in TiVo's business strategy, as it clung to its original concept while competitors embraced innovation. The rapid ascent of these platforms intensified the competition. They harnessed data analytics to understand audience preferences, continually refining their offerings. As viewers migrated towards subscription models, TiVo's reliance on hardware sales grew precarious. Investment in digital content delivery became essential for survival, yet the company struggled to pivot effectively. Their offerings began to feel like relics of a bygone era, while the streaming giants thrived, expanding their reach and influence. This shift underscored not just a technological evolution, but a fundamental change in viewer engagement and expectations, leaving TiVo to navigate a landscape that was no longer familiar. Strategic partnerships with service providers became a cornerstone of TiVo's business model, intended to bolster its presence in an increasingly competitive market. Initially, these collaborations offered a semblance of security, allowing it to integrate its technology into cable and satellite systems. This approach provided access to vast subscriber bases, promising a resurgence in relevance. As time progressed, the dynamics of these alliances shifted. providers began to favor their proprietary solutions, diminishing the value of TiVo's offerings. They sought to create differentiated experiences, leading to a gradual erosion of the advantages once gained through partnership. The integration that had initially seemed beneficial became a confining arrangement, stifling innovation and limiting TiVo's flexibility. This dependency rendered it susceptible to the whims of the service providers, who prioritized their own interests over those of a fading technology. The once promising partnerships morphed into a double-edged sword, offering the potential for reach while simultaneously constraining growth and adaptation. Evolving consumer preferences further complicated this scenario. The rise of direct-to-consumer services diminished the influence of intermediaries, leaving TiVo struggling to redefine its role. In this transformed landscape, the company's once advantageous alliances began to feel increasingly like anchors, dragging it further from the shores of relevance. The decision to abandon traditional cable rippled through the industry, altering viewing habits in profound ways. This cultural shift was driven by a growing discontent with the limitations of cable subscriptions. Many viewers sought greater flexibility and control over their viewing choices, leading to a surge in demand for streaming services. These emerging platforms offered a diverse array of content, often at a fraction of the cost of conventional cable packages. As this trend unfolded, the fading company struggled to adapt. The allure of on-demand viewing gained traction, rendering the functionalities it had championed less significant. Consumers began to prioritize instant access to content over the scheduled programming that had defined the cable experience. This shift diminished the relevance of digital video recorders, once hailed as revolutionary devices that allowed users to reclaim their time. The impact of cord cutting extended beyond mere viewer preferences. It destabilized revenue streams as subscription models faltered and advertising budgets were redirected toward more agile digital platforms. The steady decline in traditional cable viewership compounded existing challenges, pushing the company deeper into obscurity. As the landscape evolved, it became increasingly clear that the company had miscalculated the trajectory of consumer behavior, sealing its fate in a rapidly changing media environment. The introduction of the Bolt marked an attempt at reinvention, aiming to capture a market that had shifted significantly since the company's inception. This device featured a sleek design and advanced functionalities, including a user interface that promised a more intuitive experience. The ambition was to appeal to both loyal users and those who had gravitated toward alternative streaming options. Innovative features like the ability to record multiple shows simultaneously and the option for one-touch skip functionality sought to provide a competitive edge in a crowded field. Despite these efforts, it became apparent that the Bolt struggled to resonate deeply with consumers. Many potential customers were already entrenched in evolving content consumption behaviors, favoring streaming platforms that offered on-demand access without the need for additional hardware. It was not merely a question of features. This region of the market had transformed into a landscape dominated by subscription services and mobile accessibility. Sales figures reflected this struggle, with many retailers reporting disappointing numbers. The Bolt, while representing a fresh vision, could not escape the shadow of the company's past missteps. As competitors flourished, the fading company found itself unable to reclaim its once dominant position. The disconnect between consumer expectations and the product offering became increasingly evident, culminating in the realization that the era of the digital video recorder was rapidly drawing to a close. User experience challenges emerged as a significant barrier to adoption, revealing a complex interface that proved overwhelming for many. Initial excitement surrounding the product faded as users encountered a labyrinth of menus and options that lacked intuitive design. Individuals found themselves grappling with the intricacies of programming recordings, managing schedules, and navigating playback features. What was intended to be a seamless experience transformed into a frustrating endeavor. The manual, thick and densely packed with information, often became the only lifeline for users attempting to understand this intricate system. Many struggled to decipher the array of choices, which inadvertently led to dissatisfaction. It was not uncommon for users to abandon their devices, opting for simpler alternatives that offered more straightforward functionality. Feedback from customers pointed to a desire for ease of use, something that was starkly absent in the design. Complicated settings and convoluted navigation contributed to a sense of alienation from the technology. As competitors began to streamline their offerings, the fading company's product appeared increasingly antiquated. This ongoing struggle with the user interface exemplified a broader trend in technological advancement, where simplicity and user-centric design became paramount. The disconnect between innovation and usability marked a pivotal moment, suggesting that the complexities introduced by the product could not sustain its initial promise. The financial statements reveal a stark reality, with revenue figures demonstrating a steady decline over several quarters. Initial projections had painted an optimistic picture, with expectations of robust growth in the digital video recording segment. The trajectory shifted dramatically as customers gravitated towards simpler alternatives, leaving it struggling to maintain its market share. Increasing losses compounded the challenges faced by the organization. The balance sheets illustrate a persistent erosion of profitability, with expenditures rising significantly in marketing and product development. Attempts to reestablish relevance through new features often fell short, yielding little return on investment. Costs associated with customer support surged, reflecting widespread dissatisfaction among users who found the technology cumbersome. Cash flow statements indicate a troubling trend of negative cash flow, further straining resources. This region of financial instability compelled management to consider drastic measures, including workforce reductions and asset sales. Each decision, while aimed at salvaging the company's value, seemed to deepen the existential crisis. Shareholder confidence waned, casting a shadow over the company's future. Market analysts began to voice concerns regarding sustainability, questioning whether it could adapt to an increasingly competitive landscape. As revenue continued to dwindle, the firm faced an uphill battle, caught between the ghosts of past innovations and the stark reality of modern consumer expectations. Consumer sentiment became paramount, as feedback revealed a growing discontent with the user experience. Many found the interface cumbersome, a stark contrast to the sleek simplicity offered by competitors. It struggled to keep pace with evolving demands. Features that once captivated audiences were now outdated, rendering it less appealing in a landscape where agility and adaptability were crucial. Users expressed frustration over the learning curve, which felt steep and uninviting. This region of technological advancement thrived on intuitive design, yet it remained mired in complexity. The absence of seamless navigation discouraged potential customers, further diminishing market share. Observations indicated that the integration of modern applications was lacking, leaving it feeling stagnant in an age of rapid innovation. User reviews, once heralded as testimonials of success, transformed into cautionary tales. The prominence of social media amplified these voices, creating an echo chamber of dissatisfaction. Consumers yearned for a device that not only recorded content, but also enriched their viewing experience. A failure to prioritize this shift in expectation underscored a critical oversight in product design. The decision to exit hardware manufacturing marked a significant pivot in the trajectory of the fading company. This strategic withdrawal stemmed from escalating production costs and dwindling sales figures, which rendered the traditional model unsustainable. With an increasingly competitive landscape dominated by streaming services and innovative technologies, the once revered digital video recording device became an artifact of a bygone era. Shifting focus towards software solutions reflected a desperate attempt to adapt to consumer preferences. The transition introduced cloud-based services and user-friendly interfaces, yet it did little to reclaim lost market share. These efforts often felt disjointed, overshadowed by the rapid advancements of competitors who seamlessly integrated their offerings into everyday life. The allure of convenience overshadowed the nostalgia associated with the company's early innovations. This region of the market witnessed a surge in subscription models, further complicating the fading company's prospects. Consumers gravitated toward platforms that offered extensive libraries of content without the need for complex installations. The once loyal customer base dwindled, leaving remnants of a brand that had struggled to maintain relevance in an evolving digital landscape. Innovation lagged as competitors emerged with more adaptable technologies. The once prized digital video recorder appeared stagnant, overshadowed by advancements in streaming services and on-demand content. This region became saturated with alternatives that not only met consumer demands but anticipated them. The absence of agility stunted growth, leaving it clinging to an outdated business model. Attempts to pivot were met with limited success. The integration of streaming capabilities was a late response, emerging as others had already cultivated ecosystems that seamlessly blended various platforms. They struggled to convey value in an age where subscription services offered content without the need for hardware. This gap diminished the appeal of the once iconic device, as customers found themselves less willing to invest in a system that felt increasingly irrelevant. User interfaces lagged behind more modern applications, presenting a barrier that further alienated potential users. Over time, the technological promise that had initially drawn consumers faded into obscurity. The focus remained on features that no longer aligned with user expectations. Market dynamics shifted rapidly, and they failed to capture the essence of changing viewing habits. Investments in research and development did not yield the necessary breakthroughs. The fading company found itself ensnared in a cycle of reactive measures, unable to reclaim its former position in the competitive landscape. This environment of uncertainty prompted a search for alternative revenue streams. The company turned its attention to the vast pool of user data it had accumulated over the years. Insights gleaned from viewing habits and preferences presented an opportunity for targeted advertising. This approach aimed to transform raw data into a monetizable asset, leveraging consumer behavior to attract advertisers. Despite its innovative spirit, attempts to implement this strategy faced significant challenges. The intricacies of data privacy regulations loomed large, complicating efforts to utilize personal information without infringing on user trust. Advertisers remained cautious, wary of the potential backlash from consumers. As a result, partnerships that once promised financial stability dwindled, leaving limited options for sustaining revenue. The landscape shifted as competitors embraced alternative advertising models, often with greater agility. This region witnessed an influx of new platforms that prioritized user experience while integrating advertising seamlessly. The fading company struggled to adapt, finding itself increasingly isolated in a marketplace that was evolving rapidly without it. Eroding market share compounded these issues as potential advertisers gravitated toward more dynamic and engaging platforms. The once promising strategy of monetizing user data became a mere footnote in a longer narrative of decline, illustrating the complexities and risks associated with navigating the modern advertising landscape. Original content creation emerged as a significant opportunity for growth and differentiation in the digital video recording market. It presented a chance to transcend the limitations of mere hardware sales and to establish a deeper connection with consumers. The potential was there, however, execution faltered. This region, once bustling with innovative ideas, witnessed a hesitance to invest in unique programming. Instead, efforts were concentrated on partnerships that often failed to resonate with the target audience. The desire to replicate the success of established networks and streaming platforms resulted in misaligned strategies and missed opportunities. The fading company struggled to understand that content could serve not only as a product, but as a compelling reason for consumer loyalty. While competitors began crafting original series and films, capturing the hearts of viewers, it remained anchored in an outdated model, offering little more than repackaged third-party content. This oversight highlighted a larger disconnect between vision and execution. Consumer preferences evolved rapidly, leaving behind a response that was not only slow but also stale. In a landscape where originality became synonymous with success, it became evident that a lack of commitment to innovative content creation contributed significantly to a decline that seemed increasingly inevitable. The repercussions unfolded quietly but steadily, marking a critical point in its journey. The rise of mobile technology introduced a seismic shift in consumer behavior, altering content consumption patterns significantly. This evolution made the traditional model of recording and watching television increasingly obsolete. TiVo, once a pioneer in digital video recording, struggled to integrate these advancements into its offerings. The allure of on-demand streaming services and mobile viewing options created an environment where its core functionality became less relevant. The company's attempts to pivot were often too slow and lacked the necessary foresight to capture the burgeoning market. Competitors emerged, providing seamless access to content across various devices, leaving this fading entity to grapple with an outdated business model. The inability to develop a user-friendly application for smartphones hindered engagement, isolating it from the very audience that had once embraced its innovation. As mobile platforms flourished, the gap widened between consumer expectations and what TiVo could provide. Interest waned and subscriptions dwindled. The once cherished brand became increasingly synonymous with nostalgia rather than cutting-edge technology. The remnants of its glory days lingered, overshadowed by a relentless tide of change that it could not navigate effectively. This decline, marked by a lack of adaptability, highlighted the fragility of technological dominance in an ever-evolving landscape. The launch of TiVo Stream represented a calculated response to the emerging dominance of streaming services. This initiative aimed to bridge the gap between traditional cable viewing and the growing preference for on-demand content. In a market saturated with options, the introduction of this device was intended to capture the attention of both loyal customers and potential new users. Despite the optimism surrounding its release, the reception was tepid. The device struggled to differentiate itself in a sea of competitors, many of which offered more seamless user experiences. Marketing efforts emphasized convenience and integration, yet these attributes often fell short of consumer expectations. This region of digital entertainment was rapidly evolving, with innovative platforms continuously redefining user preferences. The complexities of securing content partnerships further complicated TiVo's challenge. While the hope was to aggregate diverse services into a single interface, negotiations often proved arduous. Fragmentation persisted, leaving users with fragmented viewing experiences. As sales figures began to reflect this reality, it became evident that the broader landscape had shifted dramatically. The fading company found itself trapped between its legacy offerings and the demands of a new generation of viewers. In this context, the efforts surrounding TiVo Stream became a poignant example of how quickly the tides can turn in technology, underscoring the necessity for agility in a competitive market. Competition from smart televisions began to reshape the landscape, further diminishing the need for standalone digital video recorders. These devices offered built-in recording capabilities, integrating seamlessly with streaming services and live television. The convenience of a single device grew increasingly appealing to consumers, who found themselves less inclined to invest in additional hardware. As smart TV technology advanced, they began to incorporate user-friendly interfaces and robust features that made accessing content easier. This shift rendered traditional DVRs less relevant, as viewers sought simplicity and efficiency in their entertainment systems. The allure of on-demand content and cloud-based storage options further contributed to the decline of physical recording devices. The once esteemed role of a DVR was eclipsed by the multifunctional capabilities of smart TVs, which could not only record but also stream and provide access to a vast array of content. This transition signified a fundamental change in consumer preferences, with many opting for devices that could consolidate their viewing experiences. In this evolving environment, it became increasingly difficult for TiVo to maintain its foothold. The company struggled to differentiate itself amid a rapidly adapting market. Legacy support and branding alone could not sustain its relevance as competition surged, leading to a gradual decline in market share and consumer interest. The fading company left an indelible mark on media consumption, shaping the landscape for future developments despite its eventual decline. Innovations introduced by it, such as the ability to pause live television and record multiple programs simultaneously, laid the groundwork for subsequent technology in home entertainment. These features set a precedent, illustrating a consumer desire for control over viewing experiences. As the market evolved, the influence of this legacy became evident in the design of modern streaming services. Enhanced user interfaces and recommendation systems borrowed heavily from the early principles established by it. The concept of on-demand viewing, which has become ubiquitous in today's media environment, can trace its origins back to the advancements made by the fading company. The ramifications extended beyond technology itself, impacting consumer behavior. Audiences began to expect flexibility, leading to a paradigm shift in how content was consumed. This change in expectations prompted competitors to innovate continuously, striving to meet the new demands of viewers. Despite its eventual obsolescence, TiVo's initial vision of reshaping media consumption resonates in the digital age. The evolution of television and film consumption, now characterized by streaming and personalization, reflects the foundational ideas that emerged during TiVo's peak. This legacy remains crucial, serving as a reminder of how innovation can transform entire industries. Consumer behavior experienced a profound shift during the COVID-19 pandemic. With physical spaces closing and social interactions limited, individuals turned to digital platforms for entertainment. This surge in viewership created an environment ripe for innovation and adaptation. Streaming services flourished, capturing the attention and loyalty of audiences who sought new content to fill their time. Traditional methods of consuming media began to fade, leading to a decline in the relevance of recording devices. The emergence of subscription-based streaming platforms reshaped viewing habits. Audiences gravitated toward on-demand access, preferring the convenience of choosing what to watch without the need for manual recording. The allure of binge-watching entire seasons proved irresistible, rendering the concept of scheduled programming obsolete. In this shifting landscape, the fading company struggled to maintain its foothold. The once coveted recording devices became relics of a bygone era. Their features, once innovative, failed to compete with the simplicity of digital streaming. Adapting to this new reality proved challenging. Market penetration dwindled as consumers prioritized services that offered immediate gratification. The pandemic accelerated a transition that had been brewing for years. Viewers embraced streaming as their primary source of entertainment, leaving behind the intricate processes of recording and playback. These changes fundamentally altered the dynamics of media consumption, marking a significant chapter in the evolution of viewing habits. The transition from physical digital video recorders to cloud-based services shifted the paradigm of media storage and accessibility. This evolution introduced an array of streaming platforms that allowed for instant viewing, eliminating the need for bulky hardware. As these platforms flourished, their convenience and flexibility captured consumer attention, leading to a gradual decline in the relevance of traditional DVR systems. In this new digital landscape, viewers sought seamless integration across devices, desiring content that could be accessed at any time and on any screen. The fading company struggled to adapt, clinging to outdated technology and business models that no longer resonated with a generation accustomed to the immediacy of cloud services. The promise of scheduled recordings faded as on-demand viewing captured the market's imagination. Financial reports began to reflect this shift. Subscriptions dwindled as users migrated toward platforms that offered expansive libraries without the constraints of recording limits. The reliance on physical storage became increasingly impractical, overshadowed by the allure of unlimited space and instant access. This regional transition not only altered consumer expectations, but also dismantled the once prominent position held by DVR technology. With the relentless advance of innovation, the gap widened between the fading company and its more agile counterparts. This marked a critical juncture in the narrative of digital video recording, as the industry moved decisively toward a cloud-centric future. User engagement played a pivotal role in shaping the trajectory of TiVo within the digital video recording landscape. Initially, a fervent community of tech enthusiasts embraced the device, captivated by its innovative features and user-friendly interface. These early adopters became its most vocal advocates, sharing insights, hacks, and tips across various online forums. This organic grassroots support cultivated a sense of loyalty that extended beyond mere consumerism. Feedback from this dedicated user base significantly influenced product development. TiVo listened intently, integrating user suggestions into software updates and new models. Such responsiveness initially solidified its reputation as a customer-centric company. Enthusiasts reveled in the experience of customizing their devices, creating a personal connection that transcended traditional brand loyalty. Over time, this engagement, while vital, began to reflect a more complex reality. As competition escalated, other platforms emerged, offering similar functionalities with added conveniences, such as cloud storage and seamless integration with existing streaming services. The once vibrant community began to show signs of fragmentation. Enthusiasts felt the pull of newer technologies, leading to a gradual decline in active participation. What once was a robust dialogue transformed into a whisper, diminishing the once strong bond between TiVo and its user community. This shift marked an unsettling transition in the relationship, as the fading company struggled to maintain relevance amid a rapidly evolving market. Expansion into the global market presented significant challenges for the fading company. International competitors emerged, leveraging local content and pricing strategies that resonated with diverse audiences. Efforts to establish a foothold in regions such as Europe and Asia were met with resistance, as consumer preferences often diverged from the offerings available in North America. Localized content proved to be a crucial factor in appealing to international consumers. While TiVo provided innovative technology, the absence of region-specific programming limited its attractiveness. In many cases, it encountered entrenched local players who had already established brand loyalty among viewers. This environment fostered a competitive landscape that was increasingly difficult to navigate. Collaborations with international broadcasters aimed to enhance TiVo's presence. These partnerships, however, often fell short of expectations, failing to produce the desired market penetration. Attempts to adapt technology for varied regulatory frameworks created additional complications. Each obstacle further strained resources and diluted focus on core innovations. The ongoing evolution of streaming services exacerbated the situation. As viewers shifted their attention to on-demand platforms, traditional recording devices became less relevant. This shift resulted in diminishing sales figures and an eroding market share. The failure to adapt to global demands left the fading company at a disadvantage, unable to reclaim its position in an increasingly crowded and dynamic digital landscape. A shift in consumer preferences became evident as streaming services gained prominence, altering the way audiences consumed entertainment. Traditional recording devices lost their allure against the backdrop of sleek mobile applications that offered instant gratification and flexibility. Subscribers began to favor on-demand content, leaving limited room for outdated hardware. The rising influence of platforms like Netflix and Hulu reshaped expectations, emphasizing accessibility over permanence. In this environment, the fading company struggled to innovate, its once revolutionary technology eclipsed by the rapid evolution of user-friendly alternatives. The allure of cloud-based solutions provided by competitors rendered physical devices less relevant. As broadband internet access became ubiquitous, the demand for standalone digital video recorders diminished. Market analysts observed a trend toward integrated systems as consumers sought devices that combined multiple functionalities. Smart televisions and streaming devices began to dominate living rooms, further eroding the foundation that supported traditional recording technologies. It became increasingly clear that the direction of the industry diverged sharply from the path TiVo had pursued. The economic landscape also contributed to this decline. The pressure on consumer spending led to a reevaluation of discretionary purchases, pushing recording devices further down the list of priorities. In this atmosphere of transformation, the fading company's inability to pivot sealed its fate as a relic of an earlier era in consumer electronics. The emergence of free ad-supported streaming services marked a significant shift in consumer preferences, drawing attention away from traditional digital video recording methods. These platforms offered viewers immediate access to a variety of content without the burdensome fees associated with subscriptions or hardware. The allure of instant gratification proved irresistible, reshaping viewing habits across demographics. This region, once dominated by devices like TiVo, witnessed a rapid influx of new players eager to capitalize on changing consumer behavior. Established networks and fresh startups alike began to flood the market with diverse offerings, delivering a steady stream of advertising-supported content. The convenience of accessing shows and movies on demand, free from the constraints of recording schedules, rendered the once revered device increasingly obsolete. In these ruins of earlier dominance, the fading company struggled to maintain relevance. It faced competition not just from other electronic devices, but from an entire ecosystem that thrived on viewer engagement through ad-supported models. The technological advancements in streaming capabilities further complicated its position. As viewers embraced flexibility and choice, traditional recording methods became relics, overshadowed by platforms that catered to the evolving nature of consumption. The landscape transformed completely, leaving behind a trail of outdated technologies, amidst the rise of an era defined by accessibility and affordability. Leadership decisions greatly influenced the trajectory of the fading company. Key figures played pivotal roles, often characterized by a blend of innovation and miscalculation. The visionaries at the helm initially demonstrated foresight, recognizing the potential in digital video recording technology. They sought to revolutionize the way audiences consumed media, positioning it as an indispensable tool in homes across the nation. Yet strategic missteps soon became evident. A reluctance to adapt to changing market dynamics hindered progress. Leadership clung to proprietary technology, limiting compatibility with emerging platforms. This decision alienated potential partnerships, creating a barrier against the competition that thrived on collaboration and interoperability. The insistence on hardware-centric solutions further complicated matters. As consumers shifted toward software-driven applications, the company failed to pivot effectively. Leadership's inability to foresee the rise of streaming services and on-demand content exemplified a critical oversight. Internal discord compounded these challenges. Conflicting visions among executives led to a dilution of focus, diverting energy from innovation towards sustaining a dwindling market presence. The once promising technology became ensnared in a cycle of reactivity rather than proactive evolution. In the end, the combination of rigid strategies and disjointed leadership rendered it vulnerable to the relentless tide of change, sealing its fate in an increasingly competitive environment. Technological innovation surged forward, reshaping the landscape of digital media consumption. This evolution was characterized by the rise of artificial intelligence, which began to redefine user experiences and expectations. The introduction of advanced algorithms and machine learning transformed content recommendations, enabling platforms to deliver personalized experiences tailored to individual viewing habits. This shift placed traditional entities at a disadvantage, as they struggled to adapt to the rapid advancements in AI technology. While the fading company focused on its existing infrastructure, competitors embraced these innovations, harnessing the power of data analytics to enhance engagement. The emergence of intuitive interfaces and voice-activated systems created a seamless interaction between users and content, further accelerating the decline of outdated models. As consumers gravitated toward these smarter solutions, the demand for traditional digital video recording became increasingly obsolete. The capabilities of artificial intelligence not only streamlined content delivery, but also revolutionized advertising strategies, allowing for targeted marketing in ways that were previously unimaginable. The landscape transformed into a battleground where adaptability and foresight became essential for survival. In this new era, the once dominant forces faced the unsettling reality that their established practices were no longer sufficient. The advancement of technology rendered their offerings inadequate, leading to a gradual erosion of market share and relevance. Negotiating rights to content became increasingly challenging as competitors emerged, each vying for exclusive programming. This struggle highlighted the importance of strategic partnerships and the ability to secure desirable titles. As they engaged in negotiations, the landscape shifted and traditional agreements began to falter, revealing the complexities inherent in the digital era. The need for flexibility grew paramount, yet the rigidity of established contracts often hampered progress. This region of the market saw an influx of new players, each equipped with fresh approaches and aggressive bidding strategies. The fading company found itself at a disadvantage, unable to match the financial prowess of rivals willing to pay exorbitant sums for coveted content. As the digital video recording market evolved, so did the expectations of consumers, who desired immediate access to a broad library of shows and movies. They too faced parental scrutiny concerning the types of content available on their platform, underscoring the necessity for thoughtful curation. While competitors adapted with innovative licensing agreements, the walls around this once dominant entity began to close in, stifling its capacity to maneuver effectively. The inability to secure essential content not only hindered growth, but also diminished consumer interest, further compounding the challenges faced in an environment where relevance was fleeting. Strategic choices made by the fading company diverged significantly from those of its competitors. Other brands embraced partnerships with major networks and cable providers, ensuring a steady stream of desirable content for users. This approach cultivated loyalty and a sense of familiarity among consumers. It enabled competing devices to thrive in a landscape where access to popular programming was vital. In contrast, the fading company emphasized its proprietary technology, positioning itself as a pioneer in the digital video recording space. While innovative, this focus often alienated potential users who sought simplicity and ease of use. Competing devices often featured more intuitive interfaces and seamless integration with existing cable services, which appealed to a broader audience. The allure of convenience proved to be a decisive factor, as consumers gravitated towards solutions that required minimal effort to adopt. The marketing strategies employed also reflected a stark divergence. Rivals highlighted user-friendly features and affordability, while the fading company struggled to convey the value of its advanced capabilities. This disconnect between product offerings and consumer expectations contributed to declining market share. Confidence waned as users increasingly chose alternatives that promised not only familiarity, but also a more robust content ecosystem. Consequently, the fading company found itself isolated in a rapidly evolving market, unable to adapt to the shifting demands of a diverse consumer base. The expiration of key patents stripped away the competitive edge once held by the fading company, allowing rivals to enter the digital video recording market with relative ease. This shift resulted in an influx of devices and services offering similar capabilities without the encumbrance of licensing fees. The once coveted technological exclusivity diminished, paving the way for a more crowded landscape. Emerging competitors leveraged the opportunity to innovate, creating user-friendly interfaces and integrating with popular streaming services. These advancements rendered the original offering increasingly obsolete, as they failed to keep pace with the evolving expectations of consumers. Features that once defined success became standard fare, diminishing the allure of what had been a groundbreaking product. Amidst this newfound competition, brand loyalty eroded. Users gravitated toward platforms that not only provided superior functionality, but also engaged with them through regular updates and improvements. The fading company struggled to maintain relevance, finding itself overshadowed by newcomers that resonated more deeply with the modern consumer. The long-term effects were profound. Financial metrics faltered, leading to further investments in outdated technology rather than exploring new avenues. This stagnation stifled innovation. The role of consumer reviews began to play a pivotal part in shaping product development. Feedback from early adopters offered insights into user experiences, highlighting both strengths and weaknesses of the offerings. Positive reviews often celebrated the ease of use and the revolutionary concept of pausing live television, creating a sense of community among enthusiasts. These voices contributed to a burgeoning expectation for continuous improvement and innovation. Dissatisfaction, on the other hand, emerged prominently in the feedback loop. Users frequently noted the limitations in functionality, particularly in the face of rapidly evolving technology. Complaints about the interface and recording capacity resonated within the digital community, leading to a growing chorus that demanded more from the product. This dissonance between consumer expectations and the company's responses became increasingly evident. Despite the valuable insights provided, the responses to this feedback were often insufficient. The company struggled to pivot in a market now dominated by competitors that capitalized on these insights more effectively. The gap between consumer desires and product evolution widened, creating an impression of stagnation. As peer-driven criticism grew louder, the narrative shifted from a promising innovation to a cautionary tale of unfulfilled potential. this environment. This environment became increasingly competitive as new technology emerged and consumer preferences shifted. Strategic missteps marked crucial moments in the journey of this once prominent company. Initial innovations provided a strong foothold in the digital video recording market. Yet during pivotal periods, opportunities slipped away, leaving it vulnerable. A failure to adapt to the rise of online streaming services hindered their growth. While competitors embraced the changing landscape, this company remained focused on hardware, neglecting the evolution of content consumption. Consumers began to gravitate towards seamless, on-demand viewing experiences, which rendered traditional recording methods less appealing. Partnerships that could have fortified its position were overlooked. Collaborations with streaming platforms and content providers could have created a more integrated user experience. Instead, reliance on proprietary technology limited its market reach, further alienating potential users. Marketing strategies fell flat as well. The messaging often failed to connect with the rapidly evolving audience. Instead of promoting value, the company became synonymous with outdated technology. As consumer trends shifted towards mobile and cloud-based solutions, it remained anchored to its legacy systems. Consequently, it became evident that the decline was not merely the result of market forces, but rather a culmination of internal decisions that left it isolated in a rapidly advancing digital age. Seeking to regain relevance, a series of rebranding initiatives emerged. This included a shift towards promoting its streaming capabilities, aiming to attract a broader audience. New marketing campaigns attempted to highlight innovative features, presenting them as essential tools for modern viewing habits. The integration of streaming services into its platform aimed to appeal to changing consumer preferences, making it clear that it could adapt to the evolving landscape. Despite these efforts, the rebranding did not resonate as intended. The intended audience remained skeptical, often viewing it as a desperate attempt to cling to relevance rather than a genuine transformation. This skepticism was compounded by the rapid proliferation of competing devices that offered more seamless and user-friendly experiences. In this environment, partnerships with other content providers were forged, striving to build a more robust ecosystem around the brand. These alliances, while promising, failed to deliver significant traction. The lingering perception of obsolescence continued to overshadow any positive developments. The once vibrant brand began to fade into the background, unable to recapture its former glory. Each new initiative, rather than reigniting consumer interest, served as a reminder of the increasing chasm between TiVo and the new leaders of the digital video recording industry. The struggle to adapt highlighted a fundamental misalignment with the future of media consumption. The quality of customer support emerged as a critical factor in influencing satisfaction and loyalty. It became apparent that the fading company could not provide the timely assistance customers expected in an era of rapid technological advancement. Complaints regarding service issues and unresponsive help desks began to rise. This region, once known for innovative solutions, now faced a growing chorus of discontent. Customers who once embraced the promise of cutting-edge technology found themselves grappling with glitches and service interruptions. The frustration of navigating these challenges without adequate support led to a gradual erosion of trust. Users sought alternatives, often gravitating towards competitors who prioritized responsive service and user-friendly experiences. This shift did not go unnoticed. The impact on loyalty was profound, as disengaged customers began abandoning their devices in search of more reliable options. They sought not only functionality, but also the assurance that support would be readily available when needed. As dissatisfaction increased, the fading company struggled to retain its once loyal base. This decline was compounded by the burgeoning market of user-friendly alternatives, which offered not just superior technology, but an empathetic customer experience. The culmination of these factors painted a stark picture of a brand losing its foothold in an industry increasingly defined by responsiveness and care. Loyal customers once defined the user base of this fading company. Early adopters embraced the technological innovation offered by TiVo, captivated by the promise of convenience and control over their viewing habits. These individuals, predominantly tech-savvy and eager for new experiences, were drawn to the sleek interface and intuitive functionalities that revolutionized television consumption. As time progressed, this demographic became increasingly varied, yet a core group remained. Many users were professionals who valued the ability to record shows effortlessly and watch them at their leisure. They appreciated features such as season passes and the capacity to pause live television. These functionalities resonated deeply, fostering a sense of loyalty that became difficult to sustain as competition emerged. Consumer expectations shifted, influenced by new platforms offering streaming services without the need for physical hardware. The allure of instant access began to overshadow the once celebrated capabilities of TiVo. Each year, dwindling engagement became evident as users sought alternatives that better suited their evolving preferences. Despite this decline, the loyal segment still clung to nostalgia, recalling the initial thrill of innovation. Yet their numbers shrank steadily, eclipsed by a new generation of viewers unacquainted with the brand's legacy. The once vibrant community began to fragment, leaving behind memories of a time when the product reigned supreme in its category. A shift toward software solutions marked the company's response to the declining hardware sales. It recognized the need to adapt to a landscape increasingly dominated by streaming services and mobile applications. This transition aimed to leverage TiVo's brand recognition and technological expertise in a new arena. The software solutions sought to enhance user experience and compatibility across various platforms, allowing it to maintain relevance in a rapidly evolving market. New partnerships emerged with content providers, resulting in integrated offerings that blended traditional television viewing with digital streaming. These efforts reflected a strategy to capture the attention of viewers who had begun to gravitate toward on-demand content. As the focus turned to software, they endeavored to develop advanced features, such as personalized recommendations and cloud-based DVR capabilities. This pivot represented a significant departure from the company's original hardware-centric business model. Despite these efforts, the competitive environment remained unforgiving. Larger tech entities and established streaming platforms continued to innovate at an unparalleled pace. The fragmented community became a silent witness to the struggles of a once dominant player as it attempted to redefine its identity. The gradual decline in market share hinted at a struggle not just with technology, but with the very essence of its brand and purpose in the digital age. Viewer behavior became increasingly critical as competition intensified within the digital video recording market. The ability to analyze data offered insights into preferences, habits, and trends among consumers. In this environment, understanding these patterns was not merely advantageous, it was essential for survival. Companies that emerged as leaders demonstrated a keen ability to leverage analytics, tailoring their offerings to meet the evolving demands of a more discerning audience. While it attempted to adapt, this fading company struggled to harness viewer data effectively. Insights that could have driven innovation and user engagement were often overlooked or misunderstood. Adaptability to shifting viewer expectations required not just technology, but a comprehensive approach to customer relationship management. This involved recognizing the importance of personalized content, targeted marketing strategies, and the seamless integration of user-friendly interfaces. As competitors advanced, they capitalized on analytics to deliver curated experiences that resonated with audiences. The result was a chasm between this entity and its rivals, as it remained ensnared in outdated methodologies. The failure to embrace a data-driven mindset left it unable to pivot in a rapidly changing landscape. New entrants in the market flourished by focusing on viewer-centric approaches, effectively leaving behind what was once a pioneering force in digital recording technology. As it faded, the lessons of analytics and consumer understanding became starkly apparent. The legacy of TiVo in popular culture reveals a complex interplay between innovation and consumer acceptance. Recognized as a pioneer in digital video recording, it became synonymous with the concept of time-shifting television. This recognition permeated various forms of media, embedding itself within television shows and films, where characters often referenced its capabilities, illustrating its cultural imprint. Commercials and popular sitcoms depicted characters using the device, showcasing the desire for control over viewing habits. The term TiVo evolved into a verb representative of the act of recording programs, demonstrating how deeply it influenced consumer behavior. Yet, despite this cultural resonance, its market share dwindled, further highlighting the gap between recognition and sustained success. The transition from a household name to a nostalgic reference underscores a broader narrative of technological advancement. Competitors emerged, refining the concept and offering features that TiVo struggled to adapt to, such as streaming services and integrated platforms. As these alternatives proliferated, the once revered brand became a relic, overshadowed by the rapid evolution of technology. Even amidst decline, it served as a case study in corporate strategy and market dynamics, reminding stakeholders of the critical importance of evolving with consumer trends. In this region of business history, it stands as both a symbol of innovation and a cautionary tale regarding adaptability. The rise of over-the-top platforms marked a profound shift in viewer preferences. These services provided not only convenience, but also an expansive library of content that traditional recording devices could not match. TiVo, once a pioneer in digital video recording, found itself increasingly sidelined as these newer models of media consumption emerged. Subscription-based services offered seamless access to on-demand viewing, diminishing the appeal of recording live television. Market strategies began to falter. TiVo attempted to innovate with features such as integrated streaming, yet these efforts arrived belatedly. Competing platforms had already established brand loyalty and user-friendly interfaces that resonated with consumers. The fading company struggled to convey the distinct advantages of its offerings in an evolving landscape where simplicity and accessibility were paramount. Content availability became a critical factor. While TiVo initially thrived on partnerships with cable companies, the rise of independent streaming services disrupted these relationships. The influx of exclusive programming from competitors eroded the value of recorded content. As viewership patterns shifted, it became increasingly apparent that the traditional model of recording television had lost its relevance. The emergence of streaming platforms marked a pivotal moment in the evolution of viewing habits. This region of digital consumption, characterized by on-demand access, fostered a culture of instant gratification. Audiences began to favor flexibility over the rigidity of scheduled programming. This transformation was not merely a passing trend. It reflected a fundamental change in how content was consumed. Prior to this shift, the act of recording television shows for later viewing was commonplace. It was an era where anticipation built around weekly episodes. With the rise of subscription services, the idea of waiting for a particular time to watch a show became obsolete. They offered entire seasons at once, allowing viewers to immerse themselves in narratives without interruption. Advertising models began to adapt as well, as traditional commercial breaks lost their prominence. These new platforms utilized targeted advertising strategies, moving away from the more generalized approach of conventional television. The allure of skipping ads became a standard expectation among consumers. In this evolving landscape, the fading company found itself at a crossroads. With its primary function rendered less significant, it struggled to maintain relevance. Consumer preferences had shifted towards an experience that prioritized convenience and immediacy, leaving behind once popular technology in the wake of innovation. Adaptation became essential, yet the path forward remained obscured. Lessons emerge from the journey of this once prominent entity, a cautionary tale etched into the annals of technological evolution. The importance of foresight stands as a primary lesson. It remains vital for any company to anticipate shifts in consumer behavior and market dynamics. This fading company, once a pioneer, failed to keep pace with the rapid advancements of streaming services that fundamentally changed how content was consumed. Innovation must be coupled with flexibility. Stagnation often invites decline, as the inability to pivot can lead to obsolescence. This region of the market witnessed the rise of competitors who swiftly adapted to new technologies, leaving TiVo struggling to redefine its purpose. Strategic partnerships could have provided a lifeline, fostering collaboration with emerging platforms to diversify offerings. Instead, isolation became the hallmark of its last years, limiting its potential for reinvention. Consumer engagement surfaces as another crucial aspect. Understanding and responding to audience needs can dictate survival in a competitive landscape. The fading company's misstep involved underestimating the evolving preferences of viewers, who increasingly turned to on-demand services. The original value proposition of this innovator lay in its ability to empower viewers with control over their viewing experiences. It introduced the concept of digital video recording, allowing users to pause, rewind, and record live television with unprecedented ease. This groundbreaking technology enabled them to bypass traditional programming constraints, catering to a growing desire for flexibility in consumption. Ease of use was paramount, with a user-friendly interface that appealed to a wide demographic. The device's ability to suggest content based on viewing habits offered a personalized touch, fostering a deeper connection with the user base. This level of engagement was revolutionary and established a loyal following during its peak. Despite its initial success, it gradually became apparent that changing consumer behavior was outpacing this once groundbreaking offering. The allure of streaming platforms grew, providing entire libraries of content accessible at any moment. These alternatives not only showcased vast selections, but also introduced features such as binge-watching and ad-free experiences, which began to overshadow the traditional recording model. As the landscape shifted, the fading company struggled to adapt its value proposition to meet the demands of a new generation of viewers. The once celebrated innovation became entangled in a web of outdated expectations, leading to a slow erosion of relevance in an increasingly competitive market. Emerging trends signal a shift in consumer preferences, redefining the landscape of digital video recording technology. With the advent of streaming services, traditional models of content consumption have transformed. Audiences now seek flexibility, convenience, and on-demand access, diminishing the once pivotal role of standalone recording devices. This evolving environment has prompted companies to rethink their strategies, prioritizing integration with existing platforms rather than competing in isolation. Innovations in cloud-based solutions are gaining traction, allowing users to store and access recorded content remotely. This approach not only caters to the rising demand for mobility, but also streamlines user experiences. The proliferation of smart devices has further altered the consumption landscape, making it essential for technology providers to adapt quickly. They must embrace interconnected ecosystems where DVR capabilities are embedded within broader applications, rather than functioning as standalone products. In this reshaped market, data analytics play a critical role, enabling companies to understand viewer habits and preferences more deeply. Personalized content suggestions and targeted advertising are becoming standard, enhancing user engagement. As the remnants of older systems fade into the background, new participants are entering the arena, driven by the desire to align technology with contemporary viewing habits. The future of DVR technology lies not in nostalgia, but in the ability to evolve alongside an audience that is increasingly empowered by choice. A groundbreaking shift occurred as TiVo introduced the concept of interactive television, fundamentally altering viewer engagement. This innovation provided audiences with unprecedented control over their viewing habits. With the ability to pause, rewind, and record live television, it reshaped the landscape of entertainment consumption. These features allowed it to stand apart from competitors, instilling a sense of ownership over content. The innovative interface facilitated a more immersive experience. Users could navigate through program guides, discover new shows, and personalize their viewing. This level of interactivity began to cultivate a dedicated user base, eager to explore the possibilities of their new devices. They engaged with television in ways previously unimagined, sparking a cultural shift in how programming was consumed. Despite initial successes, this engagement did not fully translate into sustained market dominance. The emergence of streaming services introduced alternative ways for viewers to connect with content. As more platforms offered on-demand access, the allure of interactive features waned. The once unique capabilities of TiVo became overshadowed by a rapidly evolving digital landscape. In these shifting tides, the promise of viewer engagement became a challenge to uphold. As the fading company struggled to adapt, its pioneering efforts in interactive television served as a reminder of the fragile nature of innovation amidst relentless competition. Investor sentiment began to waver as the initial excitement surrounding the innovative technology faded. Early enthusiasm had driven stock prices to unprecedented heights, fueled by the promise of revolutionizing home entertainment. Over time, perceptions shifted, reflecting growing concerns about competition and market saturation. The once optimistic outlook became clouded by reports of declining subscriber numbers and increasing operational costs. As financial analysts scrutinized performance metrics, doubts grew regarding the viability of the business model. This region of the market became increasingly crowded, with alternative platforms entering the fray. Investors began to question whether the fading company could maintain its footing amid such fierce competition. Their apprehension was compounded by the rapid evolution of technology, which rendered previous innovations somewhat obsolete. The decline in market share triggered a series of downward revisions in earnings forecasts. This shift in perspective was evident in the fluctuating stock prices, revealing a tangible disconnect between the company's past triumphs and its present struggles. Disappointment among stakeholders became palpable as realization set in. The once trusted brand now seemed to carry the weight of its past rather than the promise of the future. Amidst these challenges, the company's attempts to pivot toward new strategies were met with skepticism, further eroding confidence. The adaptation phase proved to be a difficult journey, marked by uncertainty and caution from investors. The final products reflected the struggles inherent in the transition to a rapidly evolving market. With each iteration, the hardware became more complex, integrating features that aimed to entice a diverse consumer base. Yet, the innovations fell short of expectations, overshadowed by the rise of streaming services that rendered traditional recording methods obsolete. The once promising devices, with their sleek designs, began to gather dust on store shelves, often viewed as relics of a bygone era. Consumer interest waned as competitors introduced alternative solutions that provided greater accessibility and convenience. This shift left the fading company grappling with declining sales figures and a diminishing market share. Efforts to pivot towards a subscription model met with limited success, as users sought more streamlined options. The push for cloud-based storage and on-demand viewing failed to capture the imagination of the audience, evidencing a disconnect between the product offerings and consumer desires. As the final chapter on TiVo hardware drew near, the once innovative brand faced the stark reality of obsolescence. The once thriving community, once buzzing with enthusiasm for digital recording, now echoed with silence. In this region of technological advancement, the legacy of TiVo stands as a testament to the challenges of adaptation, a poignant reminder of how swiftly the tide can turn in the world of consumer electronics. The transition to TiVo Plus represented an attempt to navigate the shifting landscape of digital video consumption. This initiative aimed to diversify revenue streams, addressing the decline in traditional sales and subscriptions. It introduced new features, including ad-supported content and subscription tiers, which sought to entice a broader audience. These adaptations reflected the company's recognition of evolving consumer preferences, particularly the growing inclination towards on-demand viewing. Despite the strategic shift, the execution was marred by challenges. The integration of ad-supported services encountered resistance from existing users who valued the commercial-free experience. This misalignment between offerings and consumer expectations created friction, undermining the potential benefits of TiVo Plus. The allure of expanded content options did not sufficiently compensate for the discontent arising from perceived value erosion. Financially, the results were underwhelming. Revenue generated from TiVo Plus fell short of projections, revealing a disconnect between innovative aspirations and market realities. The slow adoption of these new features illustrated the difficulty of pivoting in an industry characterized by rapid technological change and fierce competition. Consequently, TiVo's attempts to redefine its business model became emblematic of broader struggles faced by legacy companies attempting to redefine their relevance in a landscape increasingly dominated by agile, emerging players. The legacy left behind by TiVo resonates throughout the evolution of digital media. Its pioneering technology established a new standard for recording television, enabling viewers to gain control over their viewing experiences. This innovation, once celebrated, became a double-edged sword as competitors rapidly adopted similar functionalities while enhancing their offerings. The simplicity and effectiveness of the original product faded amidst a sea of alternatives. In this region, the once prominent brand became synonymous with a bygone era of television consumption, a reminder of the transition from physical media to the fluidity of streaming services. As its subscriber base dwindled, the fading company struggled to maintain relevance, often trailing behind more nimble competitors. The very essence of its existence, built on the premise of convenience, began to unravel as consumers migrated toward platforms offering comprehensive content libraries at their fingertips. The decline of TiVo serves as a cautionary tale. Decisions made in its twilight years reflected an inability to adapt to shifting consumer preferences. As newer technologies emerged, the once cherished name receded into obscurity, overshadowed by the rapid advancement of digital solutions. Bit by bit, the remnants of its influence dissipated, leaving behind only a ghostly echo of innovation that once reshaped an industry. The end of an era marked not just the company's decline, but a significant chapter in the narrative of home entertainment. A trajectory defined by innovation and ambition gave way to stagnation and missed opportunities. Initially, a leader in the digital video recording market, it captured the imagination of consumers eager for flexibility in television viewing. The groundbreaking technology introduced the concept of time shifting, allowing viewers to reclaim control over their entertainment experience. This region, once vibrant with the promise of technological advancement, witnessed the slow unraveling of its influence. Competitors emerged, equipped with advancements that quickly overshadowed the once pioneering offerings. A shift in consumer preferences towards streaming services further eroded the foothold it had established. In these ruins of corporate dreams, the inability to adapt became evident. While it sought to diversify and expand its reach, offerings remained tethered to an outdated model. The brand struggled to communicate relevance in a rapidly evolving landscape. Faltering partnerships and an ever-increasing reliance on third-party distribution compounded challenges. The fading company faced a consumer base that had shifted its allegiance towards platforms boasting seamless integration and expansive libraries.